There's something that I really like about this is that he's saying he's talking about meditation in a different way than a lot of people think of meditation, right? He's like saying even the act of eating, there's a type of contemplation that one can have when they're eating, right? And he's doing what we see done in Bhagavatam and other Vedic texts where you kind of boil it down to the most fundamental thing in life, like eating. And he's saying that even that most fundamental activity, it's not just this thing that we do for a short amount of time in the day that you have to remove yourself from the world to do. But he's saying, no, even that most fundamental thing that you do every day,
Mm.
it could become an act of meditation, an act of contemplation that transforms you in a way, right?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghu, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode, check it out, auspicious number, 1444. It is Friday. It is Bhakti Recovery Day here at the farm. We're going to start filling up with Bhakti Recovery peeps. And also, everyone's going to show up for our Wisdom of the Sages retreat. Even Kaustubha is going to show up. He's going to jump through the screen. Looking forward to Kaustubha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the tractor. You can sit on my lap, and we can go around and mow the lawn together. What do you think about that? Huh?
What is the matter with you?
Come on, it's fun. Working the backhoe. Come on, it'll be good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to coming up.
Yeah, it's beautiful right now. It's crisp and cool. Got a little heater.
And
You're going to stay in the tiny home. Got a little heater for you.
good. It's very important that my health is a little bit on edge right now. So you got to
we got to take care of Kaustubha.
Take care of me, okay?
He's fragile. Okay, I'm going to keep you warm. I'm going to keep you warm. Snuggle you up. Okay. All right. What do you say we get into our nugget today? Guess who's our nugget? Oh, wait, we got announcements.
Yeah, you want some announcements?
Yeah, I thought that was the announcement. There are more announcements.
What did you think was the announcement?
I thought the announcement was Wisdom of Sages is happening today. But also want to say thanks to God for taking care of Linda's house.
Yeah, we think it's okay.
We think it's okay. And she it's like the storm was coming right at her.
Yeah.
Like it couldn't have Milton couldn't have aimed better. Like right at Linda's house. Yeah. And somehow she was protected.
Seems that way.
Like the inhabitants of Vrindavan under the Govardhan Hill for the great storm.
Yeah. All
right. What else is up?
Well, we've got live Q&A Saturday and Sunday this weekend at 8 a.m., which means we'll take question from the people live from the Wisdom of the Sages retreat.
Okay.
But if you have a question that you want answered in one of our future Q&A days, supporting members can post their questions under the questions for the host tab in the community chat. Perfect. And if you're not a member, you can still send us a direct message on our Sage community platform at wisdomofthesages.com.
All right. Look at that. Different options are there.
So many.
Also, Cult of Cain Asana is canceled for today.
Okay. All right. Here's the nugget. This is from Thich Nhat.
It's a Thich Nhat.
It's a Thich Nhat Nug. Thich Nhat Hanh. We call it our Thich Nhat Nug.
I just heard that they're going to, like in New York City, they have, I don't know, I guess it's every year, something like that. That you can propose different people to name a street after, or at least like part of a street.
I never heard that.
Yeah, you've seen even like Joey Ramone. You see like Second Street right off the Bowery is called like Joey Ramone Place or something like that.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
That.
Yeah. So Thich Nhat Hanh, they're going to name 110th Street after him.
Wow.
Why did he live there?
Yeah.
Does he live in America?
Yeah, he was like for some time he was like a professor at Columbia, I guess.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Thich Nhat Hanh.
Okay.
He's a Thich Nhat Nug.
Well, here's another wisdom from Thich Nhat Hanh.
His name is not Thich Nhat, but okay.
From Lama Nug. If you truly get in touch with a piece of a, if you truly get in touch with a piece of carrot,
Yeah.
like a carrot, you get in touch with the soil, the rain, the sunshine. You get in touch with Mother Earth, and eating in such a way, you feel in touch with true life, your roots, and that is meditation. If we chew every morsel of our food in that way, we become grateful. And when you are grateful, you are happy.
There you go.
It's big. That's a great one. Big part of our whole bhakti thing. First thing in the morning, we start to offer obeisances to everybody that's had influence in my life, everybody that's lifted up. Part of their morning ritual in all the ISKCON bhakti centers is you sing prayers to the teachers, right? Any type of ritual, it goes through these prayers. You know, you go through teacher, their teacher's teacher, that teacher's teacher, and you remember that somehow by someone really trying to walk their talk, live with integrity, and not just live with integrity, but live with integrity with their heart wide open. For thousands of years ago, people you've never met, somehow it's trickled down and landed right on your lap somewhere, wherever you live, Canaan, New York, Upper East Side, Upper West Side. It's just landed right in your lap. How fortunate are we? People, they may not even realize it. Maybe they did realize it, but whenever we act in a place of integrity and devotion, it has a ripple effect and it reaches people you'll never even know. Maybe for generations. What a legacy to leave, huh?
Sure.
That's my gentle pause. What do you think?
Well, there's something that I really like about this is that he's saying he's talking about meditation in a different way than a lot of people think of meditation, right? He's like saying even the act of eating, there's a type of contemplation that one can have when they're eating, right? And he's doing what we see done in Bhagavatam and other Vedic texts, where you kind of boil it down to the most fundamental thing in life, like eating. And he's saying that even that most fundamental activity, it's not just this thing that we do for a short amount of time in the day that you have to remove yourself from the world to do. But he's saying, no, even that most fundamental thing that you do every day, it could become an act of meditation, an act of contemplation that transforms you in a way, right? So he's saying, he's giving the example of a carrot. When you think, if our tendency is just to eat it, just to stuff it down. He's saying there's another way to approach it, and he's saying as while you're eating that carrot, how could you not think about the soil, all the nutrients that are in the soil, like what is the soil, and what is the magic that's gone into kind of creating this? We just think, well, it's ground, but no, it's actually this like collection of minerals, right, that like give us the body that we have. And so you have this, and how did the minerals get in the soil? You have like a mountain, like you got this big collection of minerals, and when the rain hits the mountain, then it just like kind of washes those minerals into the soil. So, and then you have like if you really think about it, when you sit down to eat a carrot, you would naturally think about the soil and the minerals in the soil and how they come from the mountain and how the water that rained on the mountain, came from the ocean and it was preserved there with the salt in it, and it got distilled by the sun and, went up into the sky and became a cloud. And then the wind blew that cloud, like over the land and rained it over the mountain. And then the mountain carried all the nutrients into the soil. And then there was a seed, some kind of like most fascinating computer chip, like this
Right.
insanely brilliant little package, tiny little package that was in that soil. And the combination of the sun, warming it up, and the water that's in the soil, it made it fructify. Got some little roots there in the ground, popped its head up out of the ground, and then those roots just kept sucking the minerals in through the water into the plant. And according to its genetic code, one plant is sucking the same water through the same ground, and another is doing the same thing, but they come out as two completely different types of. One's a carrot, one's like rice. Another is like a mango. And they have different nutritions, different flavors. They digest in different ways. They nourish us in different ways. This is an incredibly magic thing. If our mind's not peaceful, we're stuffing that food down while we're watching the television, and we're just completely oblivious to all the miracles that are going on around us.
Sure.
But he's saying that if you're trying to become like a contemplative person, then when you eat that carrot, you're in touch with the earth, you're in touch with the rain, you're in touch with the sun, you're in touch with the soil, and he's saying that it makes you grateful and you become happy. And from the bhakti perspective, it not only makes you grateful and happy, but it makes you grateful, not just like grateful to who. That's the question, who you're grateful to. So, Krishna talks similar thing, like in the 15th chapter of the Gita, he's saying that there's a lot going on that people aren't seeing. 15th chapter has a lot to do with vision, seeing what's going on behind, that there's a lot going on behind, that there's a root to all this existence that's supporting her. Krishna says there, I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon. We were talking about this just yesterday, I think it was, right? I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables, right? And we're hearing the sap in the plants is affected by the moon. And then he says, I'm the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities. And I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest all the various types of foods. So, yeah, we want to be contemplative. We want to be aware of the magic that's going on all around us. And then we want to take it one step forward, one step forward, and connect it to that being, to that person who's behind it all. And that's kind of where Bhakti philosophy kind of takes it to the next level. It's what Thich Nhat Hanh is sharing is brilliant and insightful and valuable. We would say that, yeah, it's great, and then you could take it one step forward to actually find out who are we grateful to. Because if you kind of cut that out, like say, I think as a parent you may feel that way sometimes, right? Like I do so much, I'm offering so much, and I'm giving so much, and if someone's, it's like, I really appreciate all that I've been giving. Yeah, hello, over here, I'm the one that gave it.
I'm the actual provider.
There's got to
they have these.
Gratitude's not complete until it comes there, right?
They have these online influencers, good guys, positive guys or ladies, but they're all like, your morning rituals, and this is what you can do for your morning. The first things you should do in the morning. I like to read up on things like that and hear what people have to say. But sometimes they're very like self-absorbed. They're like either physical, this idea of, even in this way of self-betterment, it's still all about me. It's like, I, me. Just like that Daffy Duck cartoon. Go. And so it's like, we already live in that world. So if I really want to get to self-betterment, we got to get out of the I's, because the eyes collide when it's all about me, and she thinks it's all about her.
Note that one down there. Eyes collide.
The eyes collide.
That sounds like a good band's name. Where Eyes Collide.
Where Eyes Collide from Boston. But when the eyes collide, that's where we live in right now. I see it my way. You see it your way. I'm doing this for me. I'm a better person. You think you're a better person? I can do this. What's your morning ritual? Here are my morning rituals. But part of our morning rituals, our sadhana bhakti, means we do take care of our internal self as one who's part of something bigger. And that is sort of the main thing. We are part of something greater, and we're here to give back. And that's part of our self-care. It's not just our bubble baths, right? It's how can I give back? How can I meditate? How can I become grateful? And he says it really wonderfully. When we're grateful, we're happy. And the converse is true. When it's all about me, when I'm entitled, when I think I deserve this, it's my birthright to get this, I'm going to get this, it's only fair that I get this, that mentality leaves us sad, leaves us wanting, leaves us with all these expectations and no appreciations.
Nice, Raghunath.
Hmm.
I like that eyes collide.
You're nice.
You know what? It reminds, just the way that you said it, reminded me of, there's one movie that I saw. I said, that was a really good movie, actually, a really good film. It was Crash. You ever see Crash?
Never saw it.
You know, it was just about, it was like, I don't know, it had a whole like list of different characters who were apparently unrelated. It's one of those films where, like, you know, it kind of lays out all the characters in the beginning separately, and then you see like how their lives cross.
I think I did see that a long time ago.
Yeah,
It's
and
like 20 years old, 30 years old.
maybe 20 years old, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, go
And but you kind of, what the film really showed well, you know, that there's this theme that, you know, we crash into each other in different ways.
Hmm.
And it was kind of showing how there's kind of good and bad in everyone, and we tend to judge people, like we'll see either the good or the bad, and we'll categorize people as good or bad. But that
Sure.
even like the most horrible people, they actually have really good qualities too, if you just understood them from a different perspective, or if you knew that side of them. But yeah, what you're saying is it's simple, but it's very true. Eyes collide. We were talking about the solar system yesterday, and you know, like there being one center, and if everybody's rotating around one center, there's no collisions. You know, everything moves in harmony, and this kind of idea is meant to bring us there. You know, to kind of, you know, it also speaks to that what's so special about bhakti, why bhakti becomes the conclusion of all the Vedic literatures, because it really does take you to that final step, realizing not just that I'm not this body, I'm not just this mind, that I am spirit and I'm beyond, but I'm spirit, but what is my source? What is my root? What is it that sustains me? Because if you don't take it to that level, then you just think, I am everything. It kind of keeps one in a very much, you know, I-centered
Sure.
mentality, whereas, you know, and it's so unrealistic, and so it's actually it's actually kind of absurd to think that I am all powerful when my weakness and my, you know, is so apparent. You know, there's a strength there, sure, but there's a weakness there. Otherwise, how did I get in this position?
Lord Chaitanya's teachings are so illuminating and easily digestible. We are God, but we're a finite portion of God. We are marginal. We can be covered by illusion, but
There's
it's
a
part of
oneness,
God,
and there's
like
a
a drop
difference.
from the right from the
Yeah,
drop
yeah.
from the ocean. You know, another analogy that goes with the when eyes collide is that, and you probably use it a million times too, but
Eyes collide. Yeah.
if you throw different pebbles in the very placid pond, all the ripples start to bump into each other and crash. But if you were to throw one pebble and it hits the center, and of course another one, and it hits the exact same center, throw another one, hits then the ripples will not bump into each other. It'll be perfect. That's why when we practice bhakti, we can find harmony, because you're not finding everything according to you, how you see it, and this is the way you should do it. And this is how you know you're actually in harmony and in your bhakti. You're not always bumping in and pushing your way into other people. There's not always a constant threat of attack, and it's just you create a peaceful atmosphere.
There you go. Like a Fibonacci spiral.
Yeah, it never crosses.
I like that. All right, so what we're gonna hear today is that Lord Brahma's prayers will continue, and you know what this is going to lead. We may finish the chapter today, Raghunath, but it's going to open up into the next chapter, which is we begin to hear about the churning of the ocean of milk. But we're going to get to hear about the root of all existence. You know, what it is that what it is that we should be thinking of. When we start to think about that carrot, and we think about the soil, and we think about the rain, and we think about the sunshine, then we should go one step further and think about that person who's actually all that is their energy. And that's sweet little baby Krishna. Little 8-pound, 6-ounce, itty bitty, sweetheart.
It'll be Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, that's what's happening now, right, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Tamarandasya Gyana Jana Salakaya Chakshurun Medatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, text 44. These are the prayers. The Lord is being songs right now.
All right.
You know, it's sort of like to the degree a person is sophisticated and educated, they speak very sometimes I'll hear even a podcast with guys like, wow, these podcast guys, they speak so well. They're so thoughtful. They have a great vocabulary. To the degree they become sophisticated and educated, what to speak of, your heart changes, you have character, you have a devotional heart, then everything you say becomes so poetic. When you hear the demigods speak, or even what to speak of Krishna speaking or Arjuna speaking, everything is poetry. Everything is a song. Everything's an appreciation. It's so beautiful. This whole Bhagavatam, and we're just hearing the translations. Imagine if we understood the Sanskrit and the flow of the Sanskrit and the rhyme of the Sanskrit and the meter of the Sanskrit. It's so attractive.
Very attractive.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't understand it at all.
We don't get any of it. Every now and then we'll go man mana baba man bhakto man. You know, we have some appropriate meter. Perhaps if a Sanskrit pundit was here, they'd be like, "You're doing it all wrong."
You know, there's that time I interviewed on the show Radhika Raman Prabhu, you know, Professor Ravi Gupta.
What'd he say?
Well, I asked him, just tell us the truth, you know, like the fact that we don't know Sanskrit, you know, are we missing out on a lot when we're reading the Bhagavatam, or is it, you know, the translations just get us there? He's like, well, you know, the translations definitely convey the message, but unfortunately, you're really missing out on a lot. You know?
Ouch, ouch. So what do we do?
Like, imagine if we had like all the Beatles lyrics, but we didn't have any of their music or something like that. You know, it's like,
Right, or you have the music but not the lyrics,
yeah, well, then, yeah, it could be that way too.
or you just saw their faces, didn't have the music or the lyrics.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah.
That-
Maybe that's like people who see pictures of Krishna, but they don't really understand the pastimes of Krishna.
well, in one sense, everything's there in the form. If you truly connect with that form, it's all there.
Good point.
He's absolute. His name and he are one.
So who needs the words?
Well, when
Who
you
needs
have
the
him, you
books?
have the
Who needs
words.
the books?
Because you're not in touch with him. That's the problem. The books will
How do
help.
you know? Maybe
Well,
if I stare at them long enough, it'll all
Good luck
be
with that.
drawn in
All right,
my
possible.
consciousness.
Go for it.
Anyway, we've got what we've got, and we're going to make the best of it. How about that?
Sure.
Maybe we should have learned Sanskrit all these years.
You know, Raghunath, I don't know if that
Sti-
was our path.
You know, maybe I
We
should
might
have
have
done
become
music.
very
I should have
arrogant
just,
if we learned.
you know what? I'm already a
possible.
little arrogant. It could have like pushed me right over the edge, like
Right
super
over.
arrogant, Raghunath, correcting everybody, going to different yoga schools, chastising all their teachers for saying down dog wrong.
Thinking that I understand. You know, sometimes people, they start to learn the Sanskrit and then they look at the translations of different great teachers and they begin to criticize those translations.
And they find fault.
They find fault. They don't understand what the translator was actually doing.
Right.
And then they begin to become arrogant. Oh, no, they're actually not translating this correctly. Things like that happen all the time, actually.
We've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen
Yeah.
people get into bhakti, start saying, you know, I am an academic. I'm going to just do academic bhakti. And then all of a sudden they get a little arrogant. And then all of a sudden their arrogance, you could tell they're engulfed by Maya.
Yeah.
and they're off the path,
Off the path.
breaking all the principles,
Very
and they still
critical.
have that arrogance.
Yeah. That's right.
But they don't have Krishna anymore.
Oh,
Then again, we've
sad.
seen people who are academic, who keep their bhakti, keep their mood of love and service, whole different thing. Then it's
There are
quite beautiful.
a lot of beautiful souls like that now. With when you look at some of these little institutions that have grown kind of out of ISKCON, like the Bhaktivedanta Institute and the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. Both of these are like really, gathered or produced, however you want to describe it, but really great scholars that are really nice, sweet, humble devotees too. It's a beautiful testament, to the practice.
It is. It's beautiful. All right, so let's dive in this. We're in text 44. Let us offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's completely silent, free from endeavor, and completely satisfied by his own achievements. He is not attached to the activities of the material world through his senses. Indeed, in performing his pastimes in this material world, he is just like the unattached air.
Oh, yeah. Again, Brahma is praying to Vishnu, but right in front of all the devas, right?
Right.
And it sometimes by speaking indirectly is the best way to speak directly, or the best way to, to communicate. So by glorifying Vishnu in this specific way, he's kind of contrasting him with the devas, who are almost, they're called gods themselves, right? But they're not like Vishnu, who's really created everything. They may have their own influence, but their influence is entirely dependent on his influence. And yet they've become proud. They've become attached. They become and consequently they become confused and
Right.
disturbed and frightened and suffering. Whereas they're saying, like Brahma's praying, and he's saying he's kind of taking the position with it, even though he was kind of situated in a more peaceful kind of state, more evolved state. He's speaking on behalf of them, with them, and he's saying everything's coming from you, but you're complete silent. We don't hear you complaining about anything, right? You free from endeavor. It's not like you're working hard to achieve some kind of goal and then you've got it and then you lost it and then no. You're peaceful. You're satisfied, and not attached to the things of this world, even though it's all your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're unattached, just like the air. Everything's happening within the air, within the sky. And it passes through, it comes, it goes, and the space stays the same. They're saying you're like that. Why don't you read the commentary, Raghu?
Sure. This is text 44, commentary. We can simply understand that behind the activities of the material nature is the Supreme Lord, by whose indications everything takes place, although we cannot see him. Even without seeing him, we should offer him our respectful obeisances. We should know that he is complete. Everything is done systematically by his energies. Parasya shaktir vividayeva shruyate. And therefore he has nothing to do. Natasyam karyam karanam chavidyate. As indicated here, upashanta shaktaye. His different energies act, but although he sets these energies in action, he himself has nothing to do. He is not attached to anything, for he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, let us offer our respectful obeisances to him.
Oh, man.
These early cantos, you're just developing the understanding of what God is. It's really like forming the intelligence of what God does, what he doesn't do, how he moves, how he, all the deep, like sort of a philosophical understanding of God. And that way, when you enter into that 10th canto, we understand that there is no birth for Krishna. He's not just a baby. He's not just a young cowherd boy. It's like we can really get the 10th canto, whereas people just study Hinduism or something, like, oh, this is an avatar of Krishna, avatar of Vishnu that is just a little boy, you can lose it. Or if it's just read like a storybook, you can lose it. This is such, you see us building now, huh? As we get into the Bhagavatam.
It's so beautiful. You know, Prabhupada's going back to this Svetashvatara Upanishad by quoting these two Parasya Shakti or Vivadaiva Shruyate, that he's got multifarious energies that work without the need for him getting his hands dirty, right?
Mm.
And he has nothing to do. Natasya karyam karanam chavidyate. He doesn't have to get involved in this world.
Mm.
And when you know, and people will read this verse differently. You know, Thich Nhat Hanh's, of course, he's Buddhist, not a Vedantin, but those Vedantins with a similar viewpoint, they would think, yeah, there's some non-personal energy that's the absolute truth that has nothing to do.
Right.
Right.
There is nothing to do.
There's nothing to do.
Because you are nothing.
But what Bhagavatam's going to do.
I can't stand that. Really? Okay. I just like flipped my desk over. If that was true, I would wreck this place. You better hope I don't become a
sweet
Buddhist.
baby Krishna saved you, Raghunath. He saved you.
Oh yeah.
But what Bhagavatam is going to do is going to say, no, when we get to the conclusion of all the Vedic literature, we got Krishna running around Vrindavan. You know, he has nothing to do. When it says he has nothing to do, it means it's got nothing to do to find happiness in the material world. He's unattached to all that. He doesn't need any of that. All he has to do is he's got nothing but free time, nothing but recreation, nothing but loving adventures. That's what it means that he has nothing to do. It's like, you know, he's got no material attachment, no material responsibility that's tying up his time or his energy or his bandwidth. But he's got unlimited bandwidth for rasa, you know, for experiencing love in all its different varieties.
All right, let's do the next one.
Yeah. Now they were just saying, we can't see you. You're behind everything. Now Brahma's going to. This is where he says, we want to see you. We want to go beyond recognizing that there's a carrot and that there's so much behind it. We want to know who provided the carrot. We want to see, we want to see you, the form, the person.
O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are surrendered unto you, yet we wish to see you. Please make your original form and smiling lotus face visible to our eyes and appreciable to our other senses.
Okay. That's a big topic too, right? That our senses, they're incredibly valuable tools, but they have their limitations. Our eyes aren't, we know, right? Like there's different light rays that we're seeing and that we can't see.
Dogs can't see color.
Is that a fact?
That's what they say.
Is that an urban myth?
That could be something they've said. Well, just imagine that. Let's just imagine they can't. How do you test that? Gus?
Well, I imagine
red?
that they
Do you
could
see this red shirt?
Well, like you can train a dog to respond to different things, so maybe you could see if you can train it to respond to color.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't,
your Wi-Fi is off, Mara.
No, I turned it back. I just turned it back on. Dogs possess only 2 types of cones in their eyes and can only blue and yellow. This limited color perception is called dichromatic vision.
Blue and yellow.
So no matter what I tell Gus, my dog, if I said, "Do you see my red shirt? Do you like my red shirt?" All he's going to say is,
"It's a yellow shirt."
There is no red shirt. There's a blue shirt.
I like your blue one. I like your yellow one.
So the point is, red is right in front of his eyes. It's right in front of it. It's not like hiding in the distance. It's not under the table. It's not behind the back in the garage. It's right in front of his eyes, and he can't perceive it. This is Krishna. Yeah. Krishna is right in front of us. And all we have to do is to develop that vision. And not only do we not have it, but all the demigods don't even have it necessarily. And so they're saying, oh, please make yourself visible to me. This is the constant prayer of the devotee. And we become qualified. When we become qualified, things start to shift. Our vision, those blackout curtains that we've been, that are layered on top of us, start to slowly become lifted. And we feel Krishna's presence. We hear Krishna's directions. And we're hoping for that day where we see Krishna's beautiful face to face.
It's when you've been entrapped in a particular body your whole life,
Yeah, I've
Then-
been in this
then-
body forever. It seems.
then you begin to think that this is the reality. And these texts are saying use your imagination, stretch it a little bit. If you're going to get to truth, you're going to need to use your imagination. You're going to need to stretch it. And consider the idea that there's things to see that you can't see with these eyes. That these eyes are actually not so great. When
Dog
you
eyes.
you got dog eyes.
You've got dog eyes, Kastuba, but we all do.
And yet we don't have the dog nose.
No, that's it. Interesting. That dog can smell things I can't smell.
It's insane.
Does that mean those scents aren't there? No, it just means you have a limited nose, sir.
You got a limited nose.
Hey, by the way, scrolling out here, everybody posted pictures of the Northern Lights. I've never seen the Northern Lights. And did you know they were shining last night in this whole area?
Wow.
I think we should blame back to Udi.
Yeah, you know why? Because we had a big Udi birthday party, and that's why we didn't see the
That would
Northern
have been a
Lights.
great way to
Like,
celebrate.
yeah, we should have dragged him outside.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
All right.
Did you see him? Did you hear about them?
I saw some
Oh,
post
Johnny,
on my
Johnny
Instagram.
Fritzy saw them in
Johnny
Harlem.
Fritzy saw him in East Harlem.
Jeez.
Look at that. Friends,
You ever wonder
friends
why the
posted.
Christians
Okay,
say-
she didn't see it.
Oh,
Which
Friends
her
posted.
friends posted.
okay,
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes
Was
me
it
feel
beautiful?
better. I was like, even people in New York City could see him.
You ever, like, why can't you say Jesus if you're a Christian? Like Jesus.
They pulled that on you, but I don't know if that's necessarily using his name in vain. I think it depends.
What is using your name in vain?
We'll work on that.
I don't even know
We're
what that
squirreling.
means.
We're mad.
It
We're
is,
mad.
but that's important because I say Jesus a
Can you look
lot.
that up? Like, what does it really mean to use God's name in vain?
Yeah. In vain.
Maybe
in
put
vain.
Thomas Merton in with that and see his opinion on it. Maybe
Joey says, Joey, he's a pundit out there. Joey, our pundit truck driver. He says, I think it means cursing him.
What
Who would
does
say
that mean? Cursing him,
What is-
like.
Curse you.
All right.
All right.
Oh,
Mm,
Mary.
Okay.
It's
Hold on,
right.
let me get some. This isn't quite ready yet.
Thou shalt not take the Lord
You
thy
shall not
God-
make wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God.
wrongful
Okay,
use.
wrong-
Yeah.
use.
So I think
Maybe.
it's like you stub your toe.
Jesus.
Yeah, you shouldn't like
Can't say that.
unless.
Why? We do that. Krishna. I think it's good.
I remember that, do you remember sometimes we like when you and I first got into Bhakti, there was no internet or all of this stuff. And it was a big deal, like ISKCON TV, like there's a devotee that
Nisringananda.
he's great, done great service through his.
He's a great soul.
And back then, that was all we had was like a collection of like television shows from like 1970 of some devotees being interviewed on a show.
Yeah.
And
There was
there
no YouTube.
There was yeah,
Hard to
and-
believe there was no YouTube.
and there was one where I think it was Umapati Swami now, and he was it was kind of like a debate kind of setup with him and a Christian. I think the show might have even been called "Challenge My Sermon."
Oh.
I'm not sure if that was the one that I'm thinking of or not, but it came where he was like saying we chant God's names constantly, and then he was like saying, and then the Christian said, "Well, we shouldn't use God's name in vain." And he was like, "Well, this is not in vain at all. It's like this is exactly what you're meant to do." And then he started quoting the Christian verses about calling on he who calls on the name of God will be saved, and this and that.
Hmm.
It is we have in like an incredibly well developed theology around God's name specifically, just that one feature of God.
Huh.
There's big thick books written about just trying to understand the nature of God's name, how it's not different from him, and the way that
But,
that name is
even-
approached.
Like if we stub our toe and say Jesus, it's like we
we
want to
say
say
Krishna.
Krishna's name. We want to
Yeah.
say, we sometimes do that. So a deer jumps in front of the car. Krishna. I stub my toe. Krishna. Oh,
Yeah.
Krishna. We want to call out to Krishna.
Right.
Bradley Wheeler says Jordan Peterson has a great episode on that. It's using God's name in a way that he would be ashamed, like using the name of God as a means to bring harm to someone.
Here, I
Who
have
does-
some
Who
info.
does that?
So Matthew Henry described that there's 5 categories of actions that constitute taking God's name in vain: hypocrisy, covenant breaking, rat-swearing, false swearing, and using the name of God lightly and
Oh,
carelessly.
that's interesting. Like hypocrisy, like in other words, Jesus wouldn't want you to do this, and when
Yeah,
actually maybe he really
exactly.
would, or something
Making
like
a
that. That's using
profession.
God's
Yeah,
name.
they say hypocrisy, making a profession of God's name, but not living up to that profession.
Wow.
Okay.
This is actually
Right.
interesting stuff.
Like when you're like a police officer, actually, like you're operating in the name of the government or something like that. So then, if you use
Yeah.
that position,
You have to live up to it.
you need to live up to it.
So
There
that's
you
using the
came through.
Lord's name in vain. Ah.
That's one category.
So it's
of
not
it.
necessarily stubbing your toe and saying Jesus, or is it?
Well, you don't want to use the name of God lightly and carelessly
That's
for
another way of
charms,
using it. Right?
jest, or sport.
But so I suppose
Jesus!
then if it would
Sport.
depend on your intention, like where your mind was at when you said Jesus. If it was like
Exactly.
Jesus, because when I say Krishna, when I stub my toe, which I
Yeah.
do spontaneously,
We stub our toe a lot, me and Caitanya.
we do it.
This is
It's
just-
getting worse at it actually all the time. But it's kind of like Krishna. And what I immediately think, and this is because this is the way that my mind's been trained to think after all these years of reading Shastra and hearing Shastra, is like, look at me in my pitiful state, living in where I put myself, where I'm constantly suffering different types of suffering due to my misbehavior, due to my bad
Right.
karma, right? Like, look at me, save me,
Krishna.
Krishna, because without you, I'm really lost. Why have I separated myself from you in this way? It's just by saying Krishna, it's all of that is right in it, right?
Yeah. Yes. You ever? How about when we sneeze? There's a name for Krishna. One of our listeners is Achyuta. It means the infallible.
That's
Krishna
an
is the infallible.
adaptation.
So when devotees sneeze, they go Achyuta. It's so smart and funny, but it's good. I say Achyuta when I sneeze. Now, if
Okay.
you've never heard that, now you can start saying Achyuta, so your friends and relatives can go, "What did you just say?"
Yeah.
It's a great conversation starter after you sneeze. It's just the name of a god. What else
Okay,
do
let's
we do?
keep this.
What else
We've
do we
squirreled
do?
out like madly now, Raghunath. Now we
Yeah.
have to bring it back. Bring it back.
How did we get on the subject?
All right, keep going. 46.
But we're talking about the
46.
eyes and all of that, and
Okay.
it just kept going.
O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, by your sweet will you appear in various incarnations, millennium after millennium, and act wonderfully, performing uncommon activities that would be impossible for us.
Okay, so this is
Me killing duck demons, impossible.
right, and
Right.
you supporting a mountain on your back and everybody churning the ocean of milk. Not gonna happen.
Impossible. Lifting a mountain with my pinky. Gonna happen.
But these verses now, kind of like the seed verses that lead into the whole pastime that's coming up of the churning of the ocean of milk. Hit it.
48,
No,
47.
47.
Karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for sense gratification. But for that purpose, they must work very hard. Yet, even though they work hard, the results are not satisfying. Wow, what a great line.
Oh, it's get worse. It's gonna get worse here.
It's going to get worse. Yet, even though they work hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes their work results bring only in frustration. Right?
Sometimes.
But devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed the devotees' expectations, right? Sometimes we work so hard, we accumulate wealth, and then we set ourselves up to be robbed or to be, or for people to cheat us. Sometimes you hear about these scammers that are like these women, these families have saved their money their entire life, and some scammer just comes
What are
along.
they
And,
called
okay,
again?
now click on this link and empty. Yes, we're gonna. Right, this is a super common thing, and they just empty people's
Swindler?
accounts.
What Tinder swindlers?
A Tinder swindler. Yeah, Tinder swindler.
Or even just like you build a business and then it falls apart, or you
And then there's a pandemic.
And then there's a pandemic, and then
or there's
people
a
just-
hurricane or whatever it may be.
Let me read that. Let me read that again.
Now, when they say
Active-
karmis, it means people who let's just try to understand it this way: people who are convinced that it's the things of this world where I'm going to find my happiness. Let me work in a way in this world where I'm going to find my happiness through the external things. Hit it.
Oh,
Karmis are
okay.
always
I'm
anxious.
sorry. I thought you were about to say something about that. But for
No,
that
that was the
purpose, they
context
must.
for reading it again.
No,
Karmis
I'm going
are
to read that.
always
Karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for sense gratification, but for that purpose, they must work very hard.
have to.
Yet, yeah, yet even though they work hard, the results are not very satisfying. It always ends up like, okay, big deal. Now what? Right? Now
Yeah.
what? Indeed, sometimes their work results in only frustration.
Yeah, there's a flaw in
Like,
the
like,
equation.
yeah.
I need this to be satisfied. Well, if you don't need that to be satisfied, you won't need to work so hard for it. Maybe you could find satisfaction already within yourself.
So I'm going to work super hard for it. Then I got it, and it didn't deliver what I thought. Now I thought I'd get there and be like nirvana, and it's not. It's like the same old thing. As a matter of fact, now that's sort of like sometimes we complicate our life with that. Now I've got to maintain all this stuff I just collected. I really wanted to work hard. I worked hard. I got a really nice, road bicycle or a motorcycle. And it's a nice motorcycle. I was like, it'd be cool if I have a sport motorcycle, a street motorcycle, a cafe racer, and just a touring motorcycle.
Then I'll be happy. It's going to be
Then I'd
great.
be happy. And then all of a sudden, I got to maintain all these motorcycles. And how do you maintain all of these motorcycles or cars or bicycles, whatever you're collecting? You got to you got to work harder. You just got to keep adding money to these things. You can't even, it's not like you can even ride all these motorcycles at once. It's just like to enjoy sense gratification. The desires are unlimited. That's the problem. My desires are unlimited. Therefore, you got to pull back the desires to find some peace in this world because the desires keep expanding. They never end.
Yeah, so then it says the devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord. Where am I going to find satisfaction? Through service. Well, you know what? There's always service to do. It's like there's you're unlimited. I remember when I was a little kid and watching Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And they had that character, the Count, right? And that guy, he would just count, and just by counting, he was like experiencing ecstasy.
The highest bliss.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and I was thinking, that guy's got it made because you can always count, and there's always more numbers to count, and he's just happy doing that, and so for devotees, they're not trying to get some external result. They feel a bliss in serving the object of their love. And there's no end to that.
Can I share some of my greatest joys and memories of my life?
If it's related to this, yes. If it's not, if it's even
totally
remotely
is.
related to this, yes.
It totally is.
Okay, great.
When Shelter was living at the Philadelphia Temple.
Oh yeah,
our
good times. Are good times.
Great times. There's like 4 guys in the band, 5 guys in the band. Plus we had our
there
roadies. We had a whole team. We had like 10 of us, 8 to 10 of us. And we were in charge of like the cleanup of the Sunday feast. Now, if you could imagine like whatever, 500, 300, 400, 600. I don't know how many people came to a Sunday feast, but it was a lot.
Maybe it was 20, but okay.
Maybe it was 20. No, there's a lot of people coming into the Sunday feast. And what do you do for it? First, you got to prepare everything, cook everything. And then after you cook everything, you got to clean everything. And to just clean pots. It's like for anybody else, it's the biggest nightmare. Imagine if I just said, okay, here's like a commercial kitchen and there's a bunch of dirty pots and dirty floors and dirty stoves and it's got to be clean. It's already like 10 o'clock. It's already past your bedtime because you used to go to bed early. And we used to just clean that in so much joy. Cleaning pots, scrubbing, and we were just singing the entire time. And our songs were like the Maha Mantra or bhajans. We would just be singing, banging pots together, intoxicating ourselves on leftover halava or sweet rice. And it was just like joyful in the name of service. Where do you find that type of joy from just doing manual labor? Good company. Sadhu Sangha.
That's right. Maybe we ended here today, Raghu.
Yeah.
Now leave us a few last verses for this chapter.
Hi, Mara. Do you have a good show today, Mara?
Great show.
Great show. You excited? All these people coming over today? Or are you like riddled with anxiety.
I don't know
She's
if I've
happy to
ever been
serve.
riddled with anxiety.
Yeah, no,
She's
she's
peaceful.
excited.
But no, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to
She
seeing
made this
everybody.
incredible meal for us yesterday for Udi's birthday. And my son Raka's here, and my daughter's here, and
Yeah.
Catherine's here, and Udi's here, and
Hey,
Cheryl Mervine's here, and had a whole nice little
I-
party.
I-
Ari's here.
You know who I hung out with last night, Raghunath?
Who?
Jai Shri.
Oh.
Oh,
She was gonna
and
come
Jamuna
over.
Jelly and her entire family.
They're all coming up, I think.
Then that's the plan. They're going to come up today. Not Jai Shri,
Joshua's not coming up today. Oh,
No, she-
man.
but it was really nice to see you. We all had dinner together at Divya's. It was great.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow.
nice.
Such sweet people. This Wisdom of the Sages family, I tell you.
We got
Yeah,
good
it's a
people in our
good
life. I
people.
say that every day. We got good
Yeah.
people in our life. And guess what? Life is all about getting good people in your life that care
There you
about you.
go.
They're not
There you go.
judgmental. I don't find
You know-
that mood there. That might have been there in Krishna society. We're not. People aren't judgmental in our community.
I was so touched, Ronan, that, because Jai Shri reached out to me, said, I'm coming to New York. Could we spend a little time together? And so I said, yeah, why don't we meet at Divya's? And then Yamuna Jelly said, hey, our family's in town. So I said, okay, why don't you come to Divya's too? And so then we all sat down at the table together. But then I thought, maybe Jai Shri, maybe she wanted to talk about something personal, or, maybe
Oh,
that
yeah.
was why she was reaching. I didn't know. So while we're sitting at the table, I just kind of, I said to her, was there something in particular you wanted to talk about, And then she just looked at me and she just started crying, like in a sweet way, just like saying, like, I'm just so grateful for Wisdom of the Sages and all the people with Wisdom of the Sages, and it's saved my
She's-
life. It's done
She's
so.
riddled with gratitude. That lady.
She was literally in tears, just appreciating not just us, but like the entire thing, all the people, the whole big family, She's a
Mhm.
wonderful devotee who serves her. She lost her husband relatively recently, who she loved so much,
Yeah.
And she's just saying that hearing Bhagavatam every day, connecting with the people that connect with the Bhagavatam, getting in those, concentric circles of Sangha, rotating around Bhagavatam, rotating around Krishna. There's just nothing like it. And she was crying tears of appreciation. It was really touching.
Especially, she's the one who does the Kavacha designs.
Yeah.
Those beautiful Kavachas that Mara wears and I wear.
That's why she came to
Occasionally.
New York, and she,
Working on new designs.
well, not working on new designs, but like working on new outlets. And it's something to click. Like it was a very successful trip.
Great. And then Yamuna Jelly's coming with her incredible. What's your business called? Jelly.
Happy Girl
Happy
Kitchen.
Girl. I was,
Happy
gonna- I
Girl
was
Kitchen.
about to call it Jelly Girl.
Well,
Jelly Girl Kitchen.
I think she's saying she told me that she's less absorbed in the restaurant and the jellies and all that, and more in the farming. And she was
Mhm.
telling me, like, what should my service be, and I'm saying you do so much already.
I know.
But you know what I think, Ragnar? We all got to get together and talk about, like, that farm, maybe making it a little like a yearly retreat place where we do like a West Coast thing on her farm with
like
the
it.
cows and everything.
I like it.
We
That'd
gotta
be
do that, right? And she's an incredible cook, and she's got like lots of great jellies and jams over there too. It would be like a perfect retreat.
Yeah, like a peanut butter and jelly retreat.
There you go.
All right. You guys ready for some takeaways?
Yeah.
Make your daily routine an act of meditation.
Yeah, even just eating, right? Slow
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah.
Be aware and contemplative to see miracles.
Okay.
Eat jelly.
Gratitude brings happiness.
Attitude
Jelly.
of gratitude.
And jelly.
Eyes collide.
Eyes collide.
When the eyes collide.
Raghu.
Giving back is part of our self-care.
Giving back is part of our
That's-
self-care.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no collision if everyone is revolving around the same center.
There you go.
Ooh, like that.
Those eyes don't collide. That's a we.
We's don't collide.
We's don't
We's.
collide.
Bhakti brings harmony.
Yeah, that's right. It's the only thing that does.
Mm.
It really does.
Let the carrot and the soil remind you of God.
Carrot in the soil. Did you guys grow any carrots there so far?
No, we
Yeah,
didn't.
not-
Radishes.
Oh, radishes. Okay.
Mm.
Maybe make a little a little muli paratha.
Ooh.
Shred that up.
We are expanding the garden next year. I'm super excited.
Definitely.
All right.
We've got dog eyes. We're colorblind to Krishna.
Oh,
Hey, dog.
nice. We got
Hey,
dog
dog.
eyes.
Hey, dog eyes. What you doing?
No, that wouldn't be a compliment. But if you said the same thing, but you said dog nose, that.
That would be a
Nah.
compliment. Oh, you
Yeah.
got a nose like a dog.
Don't let.
Remember we were saying in India, Hari Priya said it was a compliment to call a
The
girl
cow.
that, oh, you are like a cow. Right? But you
You're
could
like a
not say
cow.
that in America. Oh, you are like a cow. You're always giving. You are very beautiful.
What's one of those books we read? I can't remember if it's Garga Samhita maybe, where they always say Radharani has
The thighs like the trunk of a baby elephant.
it's like thighs like banana trees.
Thighs like banana trees.
Oh, it's
Well, the
dare
banana
you.
tree is very smooth and shapely, actually. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's not like, yeah, it's I wouldn't use it as a,
Right, right,
but people must understand.
I wouldn't use it.
I
We can't
know the great
recommend it.
sages have, but I wouldn't use it to describe a woman.
Nor should you be describing a woman's thighs. For the
You've got a
cover.
Should you be
you've got a
yes,
head like a
right,
jackfruit, my dear. You've got a
Back to our takeaways.
coconut-eyed one.
Coconut eyes.
I mean, it is interesting when you read Mahabharata or Ramayana or these different Bhagavatam, and then you have like these kings, and they go out into the forest, they run into some beautiful damsel out there, and then they begin to compliment her, and they do it in very interesting
Different
ways.
than our
sometimes.
compliments.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Very sincere, though.
Yes. All right. Don't let Sanskrit knowledge make you arrogant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sweet baby Krishna saved Raghu from wrecking this place.
Oh, yeah. It would
Yeah,
have been a
flipping the
disaster.
table.
Flipping tables.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Excited for everybody coming up. And remember, it's Q&A weekend. And what time are we going to do that, Miss Mayor?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Both days. Questions and answers days. People seem to love questions and answers day. Karuna, the family.
Why aren't
from
you guys driving
Lebanon.
right now? What's going on? Are you going to come on
It's
down?
only like 4 hours. Yeah.
It's close.
It's close.
It's
They could
close.
beat me there if they go.
So they could. We're looking forward to seeing everybody. Our featured families, the Timothy Taka family, and sweet lady Katie,
Lori Pag and the Chief coming tomorrow.
Lord Pag and the Chief family.
One question. Is itty bitty, little itty bitty,
Kitty,
lady Katie Sadie,
Sadie. Is she coming?
baby,
She's coming.
lady Katie Sadie, coming.
Oh, thin
Baby
waisted.
lady.
Oh, thin-waisted maiden.
That's a good one. Everybody
That-
wants
that
to
one's like no
thin-waisted
problem.
maiden.
Oh,
Yeah.
thin-waisted maiden.